Dreamfyre. Dreamfyre was a she-dragon, ridden by Princess Rhaena Targaryen and later by Princess Helaena Targaryen. Dreamfyre was a slender she-dragon. Her coloration was primarily pale blue, with silver markings. She had silver crests and pale blue wings. By 35 AC, Dreamfyre was large enough for the 12-year-old Rhaena Targaryen to mount her. Dreamfyre was hatched during the reign of King Aegon I Targaryen. As a hatchling, she bonded with 9-year-old Princess Rhaena Targaryen, Aegon I's first grandchild, in 32 AC. 3 years later, she became Dreamfyre's rider. In 41 AC, Rhaena was wed to her brother, Aegon, and sent on a royal progress by their father King Aenys I Targaryen. Rhaena wished to take Dreamfyre with her, but her father forbade it, as Aegon had not yet claimed a dragon, and the king did not want his son to be seen riding a horse, while his wife rode a dragon. Dreamfyre remained in King's Landing. Rhaena's father, King Aenys, died in 42 AC and the crown was usurped by their uncle, Maegor. Rhaena and her husband smuggled themselves into King's Landing in 43 AC, while Maegor was at Old Town. Rhaena was reunited with Dreamfyre and Aegon finally claimed a dragon of his own, his father's dragon Quicksilver. Knowing they could not hold the Iron Throne, they left King's Landing on their dragons to raise an army. When Aegon went to war against their uncle, Rhaena's and Dreamfyre did not accompany them. Aegon, along with Quicksilver, was killed in the battle beneath the God's Eye by Maegor mounted on Balerion the Black Dread. Since Dreamfyre was younger and smaller than Quicksilver, many historians believe that Dreamfyre would not have been much of a threat to the Black Dread. Princess Rhaena sent her twin daughters Arya and Rhaella into hiding. However, she felt that she could not hide herself, as she had Dreamfyre with her, who was not easily hidden. Therefore she flew Dreamfyre to Ferrell off the coast in the Sunset Sea, where they stayed at Fair Castle. There they remained until 47 AC, when Maegor commanded Rhaena to return to King's Landing. Not wanting to bring Maegor's wrath and Balerion's fires down on Ferrell, Rhaena flew on Dreamfyre to the Red Keep, only to find out that Maegor wished to make Rhaena his bride and that his mistress of Whisperers, Tiana of the Tower, had found her daughters and used them as hostages. The next year, Rhaena fled the Red Keep upon Dreamfyre, together with her elder daughter Arya, and Maegor's Valyrian steel sword Blackfyre, to join her only surviving brother, Jaehaerys. By 43 AC, Dreamfyre had already produced 2 clutches of dragon eggs. During Rhaena's second residence at Ferrell in 49 to 50 AC, Dreamfyre laid another clutch of eggs. Dreamfyre's presence on the island made some of the residents anxious, and the eggs caused a begging brother to start preaching that Ferrell would soon be overrun by dragons who would eat both sheep and men, and called for a dragon slayer to kill the dragons to prevent it. The man was arrested, but nonetheless his words inspired fear wherever they were spread. Rhaena chose to depart Ferrell, taking Dreamfyre and the eggs with her. After some time at Casterly Rock, where Dreamfyre had been granted an entire stable, Lord Lyman Lannister expressed his interest in the 3 eggs and asked how they would hatch, and when that could be expected. Lady Jocasta Lannister suggested to Rhaena that gifting the Lannisters 1 or more of the 3 eggs would be a good way to demonstrate her gratitude. After Rhaena refused, Lord Lyman offered to buy the eggs. Rhaena left Casterly Rock and toured the Westerlands, but many Western lords desired a dragon of their own, and she grew uncomfortable with how they looked at Dreamfyre or her eggs. In 51 AC, Rhaena visited King's Landing upon Dreamfyre to attend the second wedding of her siblings King Jaehaerys and Queen Alysanne, and explained her difficulties. Rhaena was eventually granted Dragonstone as her own seat. Dreamfyre made her lair in the Dragon Yards at Dragonstone, and the clutch of eggs laid at Ferrell soon hatched. Rhaena introduced her daughter, Princess Arya, to Dreamfyre's hatchlings, and urged her to choose one and fly. In 54 AC, Rhaena discovered her former close friend and companion, Alyssa Farman, had stolen 3 dragon eggs from the Dragonstone hatcheries and fled to Pentos, and flew Dreamfyre to King's Landing to inform her brother King Jaehaerys of the theft. Jaehaerys made plans with Rhaena to make war with their dragons Vermithor and Dreamfyre should hatchling dragons appear anywhere in the world, though this turned out to be unnecessary. Later that year, Rhaena flew Dreamfyre to Storm's End to reconcile with her mother, Dowager Queen Alyssa Valerion, but arrived too late for Alyssa's death and childbirth. Still within that year, Rhaena's female companions were all murdered by her husband, Anro Farman, using the Tears of Lys. When his crime was discovered, Anro committed suicide by leaping from the window of the Chamber of the Painted Table. Rhaena had his body hacked to pieces and fed to Dreamfyre and the other dragons of Dragonstone. Near the end of 54 AC, Rhaena discovered that her daughter Arya had mounted Balerion and fled Dragonstone. Rhaena flew Dreamfyre to the Red Keep, convinced that Arya had gone there. Rena remained at court while Jaehaerys sent forth ravens across the realm, but after 7 days, she declared that she was going to look for Arya herself and left on Dreamfyre in search of her daughter. For more than a year, Rena flew Dreamfyre all over Westeros, from Old Town to High Garden to Crakehall, Casterly Rock and Fair Isle, to the Barrowlands and the banks of the Fever River, and as far south as the Red Mountains of Dorne and the canyons of the Torrentine. Rena and Dreamfyre were seen flying over the Fingers and the Mountains of the Moon, the Rainwood on Cape Wrath, the Shield Islands, and the Arbor. However, her search was in vain. In 56 AC, while residing at Greenstone, Rena received a message that Princess Arya had returned to King's Landing on Balerion. She had been infected with an insidious disease that killed her that same day. By the time the raven carrying the news had reached Rena, Arya had already been cremated. Rena returned to King's Landing and took possession of her daughter's ashes. Refusing Jaehaerys' offer to have Arya's ashes interred on Dragonstone as Arya had hated living there, Rena instead took the ashes into the sky upon Dreamfyre and released them into the wind, claiming that Arya had wanted to fly. Rena went into self-imposed isolation at Harrenhal after her daughter's death. Although she still frequently rode Dreamfyre, she wished to be left alone. Dreamfyre remained at Harrenhal with Rena until her death in 73 AC. After which Dreamfyre made her lair in the Dragon Pit at King's Landing. During the reign of King Viserys I Targaryen, Dreamfyre bonded with Princess Helaena Targaryen. Helaena was riding Dreamfyre by age 11, and the dragon was beloved to her. During the Dance of the Dragons, after Helena's 6-year-old son was slain during the Civil War, Helaena spent her days in darkness, weeping, and was not capable of riding Dreamfyre anymore. Dreamfyre resided in the Dragon Pit, and it is said that when Helaena threw herself to her death from her window in Maeder's Holdfast, Dreamfyre rose suddenly with a roar that shook the Dragon Pit and snapped 2 of the chains that bound her. Dreamfyre remained chained in the Dragon Pit when the people of King's Landing stormed the pit. Out of the 4 dragons present, Dreamfyre was the only dragon able to break free of her chains when the mob broke in. She took wing, circled the cavernous interior of the dome and swooped down to attack the men below. She slew more men than the other 3 dragons combined. Archers and crossbowmen loosed arrows and quarrels at her, and whenever she landed men swarmed her to attack, driving her back into the air. Eventually one of her eyes was nicked by a crossbow bolt. Half-blind and maddened, Dreamfyre flew into the Dragon Pit's great dome above, which cracked on impact. Half of it came tumbling down, crushing her and the Dragonslayers under tons of broken stone and rubble. Known dragon riders of Dreamfyre: Princess Rhaena Targaryen, Queen Helaena Targaryen.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.